Welcome to Copilots, the podcast where we watch not just the first episode of a show,
but also the second. Some shows don't have the best pilot episode, and giving it the second chance might just change your mind.
Here we take that chance for you and let you know our opinion on if a show deserves more than one shot.
I'm Justice. Alongside me is my co-pilot Josh. Now, let's get ready for takeoff. Your in-flight entertainment this time will be Fireplace for Your Home.
Fireplace for Your Home is a 3-episode Netflix original series created by acclaimed videographer George Ford.
Yes, and unlike many Netflix series, it was popular enough that, one, it didn't get canceled, already fucking crazy for Netflix, and two, it has multiple spin-offs or like sequel movies or whatever. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Sequel specials, I would call them specials. So, you want to get into Fireplace for Your Home?
Sure, you want to introduce episode 1, because I know you love introducing episodes.
Episode 1 is Crackling Yule Log Fireplace.
Alright.
And this episode opens with a musical intro, the only original music you'll hear during the entirety of this episode. The rest of the music has been sampled from other places.
Yes.
And a title card that lets us know that this is the first episode of the Fireplace for Your Home series, created by George Ford.
Yes.
And so we're off. Christmas music starts. We are met with a visual of 6 logs in an open fireplace.
I'm pretty sure it's 7.
7 logs. And
3 on the left, 3 on the right, 1 in the back middle.
And technically it's a closed fireplace.
Yeah.
7 logs in a closed fireplace sitting atop a gas rack of some sort?
No.
No?
That's just a log rack. It's used to keep it elevated up in the bottom so air can get underneath and cycle through.
Pretty sure George mentions in an interview that it's a gas-powered fireplace as well.
I mean, it might be, but I don't know. I know it doesn't necessarily have to be, but that would just be a log rack that exists.
Okay, so 7 logs across a log rack, and there's already a fire burning. We don't see the fire start. We don't know what caused it. We don't know what the action is here. We start in media res.
And this is clearly a thing that's happened before in this fireplace. This fireplace has seen the death of many logs. Its sides and back are coated with soot.
Well, it's got a white ash to it, where there's been a fire, but it's not like been recent.
I mean, the back wall is like black.
Oh, the black wall and the sides get blackened throughout the second song, which...
Yeah, no, it gets worse, but it is already starting black in the back wall.
Fair enough. And by the time we get to about 10 minutes into this first episode, not only have the walls blackened, other than the area right below the fire and right next to the camera's front.
Yes.
But also, the back log in the center is now completely burnt towards developing an ashy black outside.
Yeah, it's starting to char on the outside.
Exactly. We get a few more minutes in, and the fire spread through the bottom of the wood now, and you can now visibly see the fire coming out from underneath the wood and spreading to the front and sides of the fire.
Side. The left side doesn't ever.
Fair enough. It's another 20 minutes before anything actually happens.
I mean, we get some nice pleasant crackling and popping sounds.
Yeah.
Of course, as the wood is heated and the air pockets inside are superheated, then obviously cause the wood to rupture and crack and this pop.
But really, there's nothing like that furthers the plot here for about 20 minutes. It's all like inane banter.
Stuff,
yeah. By about 30 minutes in, though, the fire is now burning inside that lower left side log. You can see the fire has infiltrated the visage of that log.
I do think this is a part where the framing device of the show is a bit lackluster, though, because from a front forward-facing angle, it's not super pleasing. However,
True.
I do find, if you do have a fire, burning in the middle of a log or a piece of wood, it can actually be very, captivating.
What you're saying is instead of being a single-camera shot, this should be a multi-camera show, like a sitcom?
Maybe. Or give me an action tracking shot. Move the camera to allow us to see into this burning log.
Well, as this log begins to burn in the center, the log above it actually splits in half.
Yes.
And we get the real drama of this episode. The left side of this log wants to fall into the fire and sacrifice itself for the others. And the right side of the log realizes that this is its chance to escape what is going to happen to the rest of them. The right side of the log realizes that there is no hope in this place, and it has to leave. And we see it start moving forwards, moving to leave the other logs behind.
Yeah.
Honestly, pure drama at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, I never really got into the character of the right half of the log, so it sucks that I think he's going to be the only one to survive. Like, kind of wish it had been left, but whatever.
Mm-hmm. And as we follow the right half of this log's journey, by minute 50, we see the fire start to consume the right side of the logs. Because up until this point, those logs have been pretty safe from the fire.
Especially the very front one and the bottom front one, for the most part.
But the
bottom one, front one, kind of...
The lower one has been completely consumed by fire at this point, almost.
Yes, except for the very edges.
There's just a shell of the log that was there.
It's just barely supporting the log above it. There's a noticeable gap between the log placed on top of it and it itself.
And the log placed on top of it now has like a line down the center where the fire has been slowly searing its way through.
Yes.
So, a few more minutes pass. This right log now not only has fire searing its way through, cutting the log in half vertically, but also the fire is now wrapping underneath it and from the side of it, fully consuming right side log.
Yes.
And it's at this time, that top left log, front right side, the one that was trying to escape, completely falls and escapes the fireplace. This log escapes, and it lives to see a future that its brethren will never know, as they are consumed by fire and converted to ash.
Yeah, it sucks. Worst character to survive. Like, legitimately, worst character.
Well, that brings us to the end. It's hard to tell, but by the end, it does seem that the log in the center back has maybe split horizontally.
Yes, maybe.
Although that could just be a second log that we were unable to see earlier, as front and left log was kind of blocking that view before it managed to escape. Otherwise, that's the end of the episode, and there are no credits, it just cuts to black.
Yeah, and at no point do we get to see this fire smolder and go out. Hopefully we're going to get that in episode 2. A thing we mentioned, but we didn't really talk about, is the soundtrack for the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because like we said, Christmas music starts. And by that we mean like every Christmas music song you've ever heard.
Unless you're thinking Mariah Carey.
Yeah, no. A version of every Christmas song you've ever heard.
Unless you're thinking Michael Bublé.
That's still a version. He sings...
No, he sings original Christmas music.
Yeah, but not a lot. Like, he sings a few. But we're talking like We Wish You a Merry Christmas, Joy to the World, Silent Night, Good King Wenceslas, Greensleeves, I think.
O Tannenbaum.
Yeah.
Very, very appropriate song, O Tannenbaum.
I think at a point, Hark the Angels Sing.
Mm-hmm. Hark. But yeah, it's all Christmas music, and the quality of the music isn't very good. It's not like...
No, someone has played this on a Moog synthesizer that is dying. This is, hey, high school, middle school band, here's a score that we purchased, that way you can play it, and here's how it's supposed to sound. And it comes with the program that we have that we bought this through. It's
supposed to sound dead, and nobody's actually attempting to play it.
Yeah, everything's played on a synthesizer, but not a good one. And it really lets you know that, though, with those programs and with the soundtrack, when it tries to play low instruments, when it tries to do a baritone playing low or just a tuba in general.
Or anytime it tries to synthesize a brass instrument. Like when it tries to do trumpet.
Those always sound bad, but low brass instruments, as well as some low woodwinds, always sound bad too, because it does not have a low range.
So that is the end of episode 1, and that does bring us to the conversation we need to have between episodes. Justice, after episode 1, would you watch more of Fireplace for Your Home?
I don't think so. I think it has too much Christmas music for me.
Well, I think the second episode will solve that problem for you.
Well, yeah, but I didn't know that going into the second
That's
episode.
fair. Me too. It's not even that it has too much Christmas music. It's that the Christmas music is too bad and somehow too short. They use too little of each Christmas song, so by the time, by the time you're setting in and vibing, and this show should be something that you have on in the background and you're not actually paying attention to the plot.
Yeah.
By the time you start vibing, the song changes. So you can't ever actually fully get a vibe.
Legitimately the only upside to the soundtrack, in my opinion, which is my biggest sticking point in this entire show. The biggest upside is that occasionally some of these Christmas songs I don't know as well will play. And it's not like, I'm listening to a song I have heard. It's at points in those songs, because of the quality of the music,
of the synthesizer.
My brain goes... that's not.
Is this Final Fantasy X? Are we playing Final Fantasy X right now?
No. It's not Final Fantasy V either. It's not fucking Final Fantasy. What the fuck am I talking about? Yeah, my brain will occasionally do that. I'll be like, and then it'll give me a Christmas motif, and I'll be like, oh yeah, no, it's just bad Christmas music.
So I think that means we go on to episode 2 now.
Yes.
Which is entitled crackling fireplace.
Mm-hmm.
And this one opens with a title card that says Fireplace for Your Home, but unlike the first episode...
We get no title music.
No title music, no credit for George Ford, just Fireplace for Your Home.
Yes.
And this, we open, and about 5 minutes in, the fire reaches a height that is just off camera. We can no longer see the peak of the fire. And the majority of the fireplace is now turned black by soot.
I mean, the back part was already extremely black.
Yes, but the edges of the front and bottom maintain their white, ashy nature.
Yes.
About 10 minutes in, the fire is spread from being centered to all across the logs now. There's fire on the left, there's fire on the right. And it's about 17 minutes in that the fire spread through the bottom of the wood and is now visible underneath the stacked wood.
Mm-hmm. Just starting to lick the very edges of the wood, especially on the right.
And it's about here that I start to have questions.
Yeah.
It feels like I've seen this before.
See, I was pretty solid on what was going on about 5 minutes in, but I am someone who didn't get fucked up by Nagaru Tanigawa's repeating Days of Summer in the disappearance, the melancholy of Haru Suzumiya. Like, I didn't trip up on that and then complain about the show being bad, or like be like, well, why are there 3 or 4 episodes that are the same playing back to back? I'm like, no, there's like, I know what I'm in now.
And if there was any doubt that this was a repetition of episode 1, that all that doubt is gone at minute mark 38.
Yeah.
Which is when the left top log splits and the back half begins to fall into the fire once more and the front half rolls forward a little bit as if it's trying to escape the fire. It's at this point you've seen this before. There is no doubt left. There is no way to even rationalize that this is a different film. It's the same episode with a different audio track.
No audio track.
Completely...
Just the crackling and popping of the fire and the rush of the flames.
Well, no supporting audio track. It still has an audio... it's...
Yeah, I mean, no supporting soundtrack. No soundtrack.
And so it's at this point we need to question what Fireplace for Your Home is trying to say. Because obviously this was an intentional choice.
I think it's whoosh, swirl, crack, snapple, pop.
And we know this was an intentional choice because after we finished episode 2, we went on to check episode 3.
Out of a sheer sense of curiosity.
And it, too, is the same with a new audio track.
Yes.
What does George Ford want us to know? What is he trying to communicate to us via this time loop or repetition of the story? What is he building to here?
I don't think he's building to anything. I think he already built the fire.
Okay. Well, we've already seen all of episode 2 then.
Yeah.
And so, into episode 2, would you watch through episode 3? Would you finish this series off?
No, because, if I didn't know going in, maybe, because its title is Fireplace with Music. It doesn't say anything about Yule log or Christmas music. So, maybe I would enjoy this more without the Christmas music. But because we did peek, just out of curiosity to see if it was the same, the music quality is still the same, and that's going to be my issue. Okay,
fair enough. I also think I wouldn't finish this series. It is interesting to me that maybe the idea is the music paired with the story changes how we interpret and feel the story.
That is entirely possible.
And that's why the third one has different music than the first one, and the second one has no music at all. And by watching all 3 of these, we get a complete sense of emotion from the story. But I can't be bothered. The story is too long for what it's actually giving.
Yeah, I would agree. So
I think in the end, we agree that Fireplace for Your Home, not necessarily a show you should be watching for the story.
Nah, or for the music.
It might be okay if you have a Christmas party or a holiday party. You want to put it on in the background. Although I think there might be better options out there.
I think even if you're going to do with that, you should just throw episode 2 on and play some music from Spotify or Pandora or something.
Honestly, I was is it Rankin Bass or...
Rankin Bass?
Honestly, I would just put Rankin Bass Christmas movies on in the background and be this is the background stuff. We don't need a fake fireplace going.
Fair enough.
Especially because the fake fireplace has no story, whereas a Rankin Bass film 20 to 30 minutes usually and you're done with a story.
Yeah. And not necessarily good stories, but there's something going on.
Yeah, I think having Rankin Bass films on the background gives your guests the option to disengage from the social pressures of a holiday party.
Yeah.
Whereas Fireplace for Your Home, you either need to intensely watch and follow the story because it is slow moving.
Yeah.
It is a slow burn of a story.
And if you split your attention for the tiniest bit, you could miss a massive change in story.
You might miss top left, far right side falling out of the picture. You might miss him leaving.
Yeah.
Which is probably, as far as action goes, one of the most climatic parts of the film.
Yeah.
Episode, not film. Justice, though, outside of Fireplace for Your Home, I think you have some additional information about this.
Yeah, because if it isn't obvious, this is going to be a pretty short episode. So I thought, why not get into a deeper look into the mind of such a creator?
Yes. George Ford.
So, he's been interviewed about his work.
Yeah. Getting into it about this interview, though, there are two things I want to bring up specifically. One, apparently this film cost $35,000 to make originally.
I was going to mention that.
Oh, okay.
He mentioned it in his interview, but continue.
And it seems, I don't know, maybe a little bit of an insane amount to spend on what could be described as logs burning in a fireplace.
Yeah.
The second thing I want to bring up that we've seen from this interview, I don't remember which interview this was. It's
an interview with The Independent.
So, quoting The Independent here, they describe Fireplace for Your Home as having Lynchian qualities.
To be exact, the quote is, "But how did these ambient, vaguely Lynchian masterpieces even get onto Netflix?" Talking in reference, of course, to
Fireplace for Your Home.
Yes, and the spin-offs for it.
And obviously, when we first saw that quote, hysterical. How would you describe Fireplace for Your Home? A TV series ostensibly about wood burning in a fireplace as Lynchian. But I have to say, after having watched 2 episodes of Fireplace for Your Home, and knowing that the 3rd episode is also the same, 3-hour-long episodes that use the same footage of different soundtracks to potentially convey different emotional responses does feel very Lynchian by nature.
I'm just going to say it does still give me more of a Tanigawa vibe, but
fair enough.
Each their own.
So what else does the Guardian article have to tell us about Mr. George Ford?
Well, that apparently as he was stated, when they asked him in reference to his approach with Netflix, how it was opt-in, whatever, when he initially approached them, they're like, what the fuck, why do we want an hour-long video? What you have described as the best fireplace ever. And eventually some person on Netflix got it, and Mr. Ford's assumption is, I thought, either I'll turn out to be fucking amazing, or I won't. So, from Ford's interpretation, it seems to be, he's saying this was the guy's make it or break moment, hey, if this works, I'm a fucking genius. If this doesn't, no one's gonna let me choose to option anything ever again.
It really strikes me as Ford sounding like he is an auteur, where he's like, they just didn't understand me, but there was this one guy, and he thought, maybe if I can convince people that this is a masterpiece, I can make my career off of the name of George Ford. It's still on Netflix 14 years later, so...
And by a rough estimation from Mr. Ford himself, given the fact that he hasn't given the exact numbers and he's trying to guess it off of stars, reviews, and whatever, he approximates, at least at the time of this article, 70 million views across his videos for them.
It's pretty good. I think... Really, at the end of the day, though, it is just about wood burning in a fireplace.
Yeah, and like we said, it took him $35,000, and I think we didn't mention 2 years to produce.
A little insane, but I think the results speak for itself. Fireplace for Your Home is maybe the default fireplace screensaver for your TV during the holidays.
Yeah.
Just because of how popular Netflix is in people's homes. I don't think it actually has anything to do with George Ford or his production quality. Mm-hmm. Just that Netflix is a default video streaming service, and this happens to be the Fireplace video that's on Netflix.
However, though, if you are a massive fan of George Ford, he does have some other works you may be interested in, such as 8-bit digital fireplace with music, aquarium for your home, saltwater reef, evening crackling campfire, and mountain stream, a mountain stream background for your television.
This is, of course, in addition to the Fireplace for Your Home series.
Yes.
Which is iconic. But I think that's going to do it for this flight, unless you have anything more.
No.
So, obviously, a little bit shorter flight. We do apologize for that. But we are coming off the Thanksgiving holiday, away with family for celebrating the holidays. And
also, if it isn't obvious, we are running out of Christmas-specific shows to review, and this is probably the last year we're doing Christmas-specific shows in December. And technically, I've tried to do holiday-specific shows, but it's very hard to find TV shows or things with episodes that aren't Christmas, and it's hard to find even the Christmas ones.
The two holidays that have TV shows are Halloween and Christmas.
And Christmas don't have a lot. Halloween's pretty easy. You just choose a horror show.
I guess Guy Fawkes Day had a TV show.
Yeah, we did that one.
Yeah, we did that.
I mean, I guess President's Day could have a TV show. We could watch House of Cards for President's Day.
We could also watch, I Like Your Words, Magic.
Oh, Clone High?
Clone High, that's what it's called.
The fact that you've never seen Clone High is still mind-boggling with how often you quote it.
But yeah.
Or misquote it, but still.
Struggling to find holiday-themed shows means we have we are beginning to scrape the barrel, and part of that scraping of the barrel means George Ford gets highlighted on the podcast.
Yeah, we had another show we thought about, but we just really, really hated the dub.
It also opens with an incest joke in the first 3 minutes, so...
Only in the dub, not in the sub. Only in the sub, not the English dub. And I guess, technically, it's original dub, but...
Anyways, if you want to reach out to us and contact us, and maybe suggest holiday shows that you know we haven't reviewed yet...
But with no promise of us watching it in the future, because like I said, I'm done.
You could reach out to us in a myriad of ways. First and foremost is our email address, copilotsreview@gmail.com.
Or you can find us on Blue Sky at Copilots Review.
You can also find us on our website, copilotsreview.simplecast.com, which has links to our Blue Sky, our email, our
Discord, our Patreon, our YouTube.
Thank you for caring.
Yep.
But those are all valid ways to reach out to us and let us know your favorite Christmas shows to watch. In the meantime, though,
thank you for flying, and please fly again soon.